You feel this nervousness on the phone there?
Sir, I've been trying to make an urgent phone call up there.
Well, I don't think it's something I want to do on an overseas phone.
You gotta make some phone calls. Hang up the phone. Prank caller.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the Packernet After Dark podcast, whatever podcast I'm doing right now. If you'd like to call in to the podcast call-in show, you can do so at 608-501-0718. New callers go directly to the front of the line. Let me just tell you right now, I didn't really decide this until right now, but as I mentioned before, today was tax day, so I was doing taxes all day, and then we went to our tax appointment. I did the NFL Draft podcast. I'm going to do this podcast, and that's going to be it for me. So tomorrow morning, there will not be a regular podcast. There should still be the After Dark as well as the Draft podcast. And then we're right back on schedule, hopefully pending any other nonsense going on. But with that in the rear view, should be good to go. So, anywho, appreciate your patience as we, have to do our due diligences. All right, no new callers. So let's get started with Beer Cheese Benny.
I'm Beer Cheese Benny here. My voice is still not back completely, but I hesitated to call in about this, but, after thinking about it with the press conference with Gutekunst, and I'm sure you kind of alluded to this. It's almost like they don't even know what the problem is. They don't want to address the problem. They're just like, yeah, we're going to look at everything from every angle. It's like, okay, that's cool. Well, what's the problem? Do you even know what's going on and why this happened?
No, I don't.
You know what I mean? It's so frustrating, man. As fans, when we damn near know the problem, and this is like the front office seemingly doesn't know, and they don't address it, or they don't say, because at least Gutekunst could have come out and be like, this is where this went wrong, and this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna look at this. He just said, yeah, we're gonna look at everything from every angle. What does that even mean? But it is what it is, man. I just hope that we have a clear, outline from this front office what we're going to do. So, I don't know, man. Go Pack, go.
Well, and it's also possible we got to entertain the idea that perhaps they have at least somewhat of an idea, and it's something they're absolutely not going to say. I'll probably talk about that the next time we do a podcast if I can remember to get to it, but I kind of alluded to it before. There were there's these little things, Gutekunst is mad, but it's doesn't seem like he's mad at LaFleur, and he doesn't want to say what he's mad about, but he's also, there seems to be something underlying that. Everybody just kind of has this thing, and then Romeo Dobbs does an interview, and at one point is just kind of like, yeah, he just kind of gets quiet, I don't really want to, he doesn't want to talk about it kind of thing. It just feels like, and we've been in this spot many times before, where, there are certain things that people know, you could go back to, not that this is the exact same thing, but kind of like with Za'Darius. There was just this underlying thing that was going on, and everybody just chose to take the high road and not really talk about it. Probably the same thing with Devondre Campbell. I think there was some weird stuff going on with Jair and some of the corners and whatnot, and I don't know, I mentioned even before this new regime got here, when we had the issues with, I've mentioned this several times, Clinton Dix at the end of the season saying, we got some guys that are here just to collect paychecks, and, we got other guys that are kind of younger and not really whatever. Different people here are here for different reasons. And there just seemed to be not a central focus. And so the point is, I'm guessing it's a lot more clear to the people in the room than it is to us at home. There probably is still an element of I genuinely have no freaking idea why these collapses keep happening. But I also think that there are some things that they know that we're never going to find out about. And I keep going back to it, and I'm sure people get annoyed by it, but I keep going back to the trust thing. That's all I can do is trust. I don't know what's going on. I know they have more information than me, and all I can do is trust that it's a good amount of information. They know what to do with the information, and we'll leave it at that. And in the meantime, I'll just keep guessing and taking these wild swings, and then everyone will roll their eyes like, oh, you're just looking for drama. It's like, yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I am. That's what I'm doing. But, what else do I have to work with at this point? That's all I'm being given to work with. So, I don't know. I don't know how much they know, how much they're like, yeah, we're going to try to look into it, and they just have no freaking idea, and they're never going to figure it out. And how much of it is everybody in the building knows exactly what and who the problem are, and they just don't really want to talk about it.
Good morning, Packernet podcast. Sunday morning, Super Bowl Sunday. I hope they blow up the stadium. Honestly, screw both these teams. But anyways, the reason I called in today, y'all, is because I have to move from South Carolina to North Carolina. As some of you may know from my calls about me, is that, originally from Wisconsin, which is how I became a Packers fan, as anyone that was born and raised in Wisconsin should be. My wife joined the Marine Corps, got stationed in South Carolina. And so with that being said, Uncle Sam gets what Uncle Sam wants. And Uncle Sam is spanking me 6 hours north to North Carolina. So, I'm going to be in North Carolina. My question is, I'll be in Cherry Point. And I just don't know if anybody's been in that area or whatever. Tell me what's up. Like, call into the podcast. Appreciate that. Or hit me up on Twitter at BeerCheeseBenny. But I'm just wondering, man, I'd love to meet some Packer fans up there. What are you guys' suggestions for, meeting new Packers? Should I just put a Packer flag, like a bunch of Packer crap up by my house or whatever? Hopefully somebody's like, hey, go back on. I'm like, yeah, dude, what's up? Obviously, I'm going to find the Packer fans. One thing that I never did when I was down here that I regret is there's actually a Packer bar in Charleston, South Carolina, which is like an hour and 20 minutes from me, but I regret never going there because I called them one time. I was like, just to confirm, I was like, is this really a Packer bar? I need to know. And they're like, oh, yeah. They're like, every Sunday during the football season, it's always, fuck the Bears, fuck the Vikings, whoever we're playing. People are wearing all the cheese heads and the cheese earrings and all the Packer gear. And I'm like, okay, this is legit. And I regret that I never did it. But I'm hoping that there's maybe some Packers Wisconsin bars up there where I'm going to be. But, at first I was like kind of upset about moving, and I still am because I love my job, love the golf course I work at. But I got lucky in where the guy that I work with, one of the superintendents I work with, he just was hired on in August. He grew up in that area, and one of his mentors is a superintendent at one of the golf courses there, so he's sent me up over there. So, but just want y'all's suggestion of that area, if you know about it, or, this is what I can do to meet some more Packer fans, or if you know any Packer bars. Go Pack, go.
Well, I don't know anything about that, but I will say I've always wanted to live in the Carolinas. That's always been like my favorite thing. My cousin, I think, just moved to, I think it's South Carolina, maybe North Carolina, I don't know. Went to, aside from like driving through it, which I've done several times, went to South Carolina for our honeymoon. Loved it. But I was just thinking, okay, so where would you want to live? You rule out the entire north because I don't want cold anymore. I want it to be warm. I don't want to go to the West Coast. I don't like it over there. I don't want to go over there. I have no interest in that. Texas might be cool, maybe. It's massive. Lots of different parts of Texas could be cool. Florida would be pretty dope, but it's maybe a little bit too hot and humid and hurricanes. And it's just like, you get away from the earthquakes, you get away from the freezing cold, you get away from the hurricanes. I want to still be on the ocean. I want it to be warm, but not 700,000 degrees warm, more like, reasonably warm. And it's just the Carolinas. Carolinas every time is what I come up with. It looks nice. You're up over by the water over there. So I hope that the move goes well. Me being me, the first thing I look for is restaurants. I'm just like, okay, so what friggin' food do we have around here? So that's, I'm sure, I'm hoping Booby's Kitchen? What in the world is that all about? Caribbean. Okay. Different meanings for words in different places. You got Cajun, you got Caribbean, you got Vietnamese. All right, well, a lot of different stuff out there, I guess. Man, I swear, I want to fast forward a week. I'm looking at the news, and it's been 24 straight hours of Bad Bunny. Like, I need this to be over. It's going to be a month. We're going to miss a month of actual off-season content because we're talking about Bad Bunny for a frickin' month. I don't care. But anywho, yeah, kind of out in the boonies a little bit. You're right on the ocean. Some stuff going on. Hope you enjoy her. You know what I mean? It's the best I can do for you. I don't know. I live in Wisconsin. I can't help you beyond that.
Hi, Ryan. It's Randy in Minnesota.
Hi.
And it's halftime, and I'm watching Bad Rabbit, Bad Bunny. Anyway, you know what? I don't mind the Latin music, the Latin culture. But for the love of God, could they please put in subtitles so I can understand what the hell he's saying?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
Please. And I'm all about being inclusive and everything else, but my God. Anyway, I could just...
Well, I mean, I think inclusive is different. Inclusive is like my family is going to include an outsider into it. Inclusive is this is our thing and we do it, but we're going to allow you into it. Saying I'm going to give you my house is something different than being inclusive. You know what I mean? Inclusive would be like having Metallica with Spanish subtitles. That would be inclusive. Being a thing with a wherever he's from singer in Spanish, I don't know, I think that's different than inclusive. I'm just throwing that out there.
Imagine how much the Packers would be up right now if we were in this Super Bowl. This is incredible. I love the game. I love a defensive game. And you're right. The D-line is what we need.
Yeah.
Go Pack, go. Thank you so much, Ryan, for all your podcasts. It makes my day go very, very quick at work. Thank you. Bye.
Well, good. I'm glad you enjoy it. I mean, it's 2 years in a row we've gotten the same message from the Super Bowl. It's trenches. And who knows, maybe next year it's going to be an elite quarterback, wide receiver, tight end. Like, it's going to be, a different message. But it's been 2 straight years of like, hey, dummy, this is how you succeed in the NFL right now. And again, everybody went out and tried to do it. And like the entire NFC North went out and did it. And I think the only group that succeeded might have been the Bears' offensive line. Their defensive line still sucks. Packers did nothing. Their offensive line is the worst it's been in my lifetime. The Lions' offensive line got worse. Their defensive line got worse. I mean, it's all for trying, Maybe if we all have the money that the Bears had last year, we all can go out and buy some 32-year-old Pro Bowlers, and have some success. But, we'll see what we can do. It's going to be tough. Some of these guys are going to succeed, but most of them will not. So that's going to be the tricky part is, are you going to get the rare few? There's a lot of the big boys, which is going to excite a lot of people. They want the 325, 330 guys. We'll see. Like I said, Tavondre Sweat, I think it was, like 365 or something. He worked out. He's a stud. I don't know. We'll see if we can get her done or free agency or whatever. I don't know. I mean, the answers. I was going to say the answers are out there. They may not be out there, which is also something you have to consider. There may not be a solution to this. There may not be a path, even doing things perfectly to fix this. But you hope that there is, and you hope that you're the lucky one that can find those pieces and make this thing work. All right, let's take our first break. We'll be back with a couple calls from RLS.
Hey, what's up, Ryan? It's RLS. I just checked into the Super Bowl. I have not been watching it. I really don't have any interest in it. I've been watching Godfather Harlem, Bumpy Johnson and Mob and Frank Lucas.
Nice.
It's a pretty good show. I just got into it, been binging on that. But it's like the end of the third quarter, so I figured I'd tune into the game, check out a little bit of it. But I was scrolling through Twitter here. I didn't see the halftime performance, but you see a lot of comments about like Spanish and citizenships and all this other stuff. And I really, I don't know if you don't know this. I used to work on Capitol Hill and the Pentagon. I spent a lot of time in D.C. When I retired, I left politics alone for the most part, right? Because in my opinion, it's all fake. Everything we argue about, left, right, up, down, it's all fake.
I was just thinking about this today. It's more, at this point in my life, entertainment. I get very annoyed by people who are like I used to be that take stuff like super, like they get real angry. I mean, you can see it. You can see the violence and stuff out there. People out in the streets fighting each other. Like, what are you guys doing, man? But I still find it entertaining. I don't know. I'm sick that way. I'm just watching the news like, ooh, that's crazy, and nothing happens. I'm like, today sucked, man. This is boring.
Just have and have nots. Those with powers and those without, in my opinion. Everything else in between is just a distraction so that you can stay out of the haves way. But that's another conversation. But one thing, I do want to come to the defense of Bad Bunny, right? I'm not a Bad Bunny fan. I don't really listen to reggaeton music, even though I'm half Latino. I don't really listen to that stuff, that particularly. But the comments about like, oh, this isn't American, or it's, Puerto Rico has been a part of America since the Spanish-American War, right? The people in Puerto Rico, I think they got their citizenship in like the early 1900s. So it's been like over 120 years, right, that they have been natural-born American citizens. And they have been. They're generations upon generations of natural-born Americans. So the way I see it is them reaching their heritage, or they're being proud of their heritage, is no different than an Italian American being proud of their heritage, or an Irish American, or a Mexican American, right, or an Asian American. People represent their heritage all over the place. But I find it just, inconsistent to say that, for people to say that Bad Bunny's not American, or because he speaks Spanish, he's not American. That's saying that to be American, you have to fit a certain type of demographic, right, and speak English, which I personally find offensive. And I find it's just contradictory. It's contradictory, that's a word. It contradicts things, right? You know what I'm trying to say. But I figured I'd just call in, just speak out, because what I see it is, if mainstream America, right, doesn't like that Puerto Ricans are citizens, or doesn't like that a halftime show is being, presented in Spanish by a Commonwealth that America has taken to the Spanish-American War, then get rid of the Commonwealth, right? Don't get mad at these people for existing. That's just my argument, man. All right, I'm done. Peace.
Yeah, again, I don't want to talk about Bad Bunny, but I'm sure we're going to have to do that at least for a little while. I've kind of talked about that a little bit as far as their Americans thing. Yeah, kind of. It's definitely not the same thing. Being from Puerto Rico is not the same as being from Tennessee. And if first of all, it is a different language. It is a different culture. And again, if you ask them, what is your nationality? They're not going to say American. They're going to say Puerto Rican. So it is different. The language thing, it really doesn't bother me that much. And let me qualify that, because I understand it. Like I said, if Rammstein ever were to do one, I'd be like, that's pretty dope. And if, people were listening to it and they're like, I don't know what he's saying, like, just shut up and listen to the music. It's a good song. I don't know what he's saying either. It's a good song. Shut up. It's not really that big of a deal. But as far as saying like, well, some people speak Spanish in the country, is like, I understand that, but that would be like, putting on a ballet performance and being like, bro, this is a freaking football performance. Why would you pick ballet? It's like, hey, some people like ballet. Not everything's about you and your stupid, like, oh, I like tough guy stuff. Like, some people like ballet. Like, is that a problem? I understand that some people speak Spanish. I get it. But again, I think, like, if you're running a business and I were making like a beverage business and just like, I'm just going to make beverages. And somebody said, what kind of beverage should we make? What is the only question you're going to ask? What do my consumers want? That's it. That's the only question. I'm not going to say I'm going to, have like some like nasty fish water finish thing and being like, well, you're being culturally insensitive, Americans, if you don't drink my product. That's not the point. First of all, you're wrong. It's not culturally insensitive. They just think it's gross and stupid because it's not their culture. Yeah, they're going to gag and puke if they try your product. It doesn't make them racist or insensitive. They just don't like it. And so, in my opinion, if you're going to do a Super Bowl halftime show, you pick things that your audience is going to want to like. Now, if you're arguing that a large portion of the audience actually did love that, we're talking, I don't know what the threshold should be. You're never going to satisfy everybody. It's honestly at this point, the only thing enjoyable about the halftime show, I think, is complaining about it. I can't remember the last time I've seen a good halftime show. Maybe the rap one was somewhat entertaining. He had all the old dudes coming out. Last year was appalling. But that would be my only thing. And I think what annoys me, and it's only if, and I've mentioned this before, if you're honestly telling me that we did all the work and we decided that this is what most people are listening to, it's the most popular band out there right now and he's willing to do it, all right, well, it's not my thing, but that's what people like, so I guess freaking whatever. I'll be listening to a lot of young people, Gen Z garbage from now on, I guess. It's just the way it goes. And my role is to just complain about it. And then Gen Alpha is going to take over, and the Gen Zs are going to be complaining about that music. What I don't want, and I've been saying this for a long time, is pandering. We're going to take the most pivotal performance in the entire world, the culmination of everything that football fans have been waiting for, and we're going to take it from them and give it to somebody else because we want to pander to a demographic. Not because we love and appreciate them, but because we want more of them watching football. That's what I don't want to happen. Don't take the Super Bowl and the halftime show and the draft and everything away from me and give it away to everybody else so that you can make more money. And this is my whole thing with like traveling around the world too. It's like, I kind of like that you're doing it, but at the same time, like, what's left for us? Are there going to be any games left in America for Americans with American halftime shows and American games with American food? Like, is any of this going to be allowed anymore? Or are we just going to keep giving it away to everybody else so that you can make more money off of expanding this worldwide? Are we going to have a polka halftime show so that you can pander to the Germans next year? And I know everybody's going to take what I'm saying politically, but it genuinely is across the board. I couldn't care less. This bleeds into everything that Roger Goodell does that I don't like. He doesn't care about the quality of the product. He just cares about, number one, protecting our money, and number two, making more money. This is all the rule changes. Like, are we improving the game? No, we're making the game safer. Okay, well, that's good. Are we doing anything to improve the game? No, we're expanding it. We want more games. We want more and more and more and more and more. And then we want to go further and further and further and further. And we're going to use all these sacred things as gimmicks to appeal to all these new audiences that we're trying to bring in. That is what pisses me off. Again, I know a lot of people have said, no, he's legitimately the top guy or what. Okay, fine. If he is, cool, then that's fine. I'm just saying, if I was sitting in that meeting and they said, hey, we did the numbers, he's the top guy, all right, roll it, let's do it. If you're saying he's not, but he's up there and it'll pander to a market for us, F you. At some point, I need Roger Goodell to actually give a crap about the NFL as though it's a sacred and special thing to be protected, not some gimmick to be used as a tool to make more money for you. But again, in all honesty, not the worst halftime show I've ever seen. Like I said, last year was 10 times worse. I was genuinely, I hated the first like 30 seconds of it until like the reggaeton music actually kicked in. And I was like, all right, at least you can kind of like bounce to this. It's the exact same song every time. It's just do, 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 do. But whatever, people get into it. And again, honestly, not knowing the words is probably better. So there you go. RLS part 2.
Hey, it's Arliss again. Am I the only one that just had no interest in the Super Bowl? Like, I literally forgot it was even happening today until
I was kind of in the same boat. I mean, I knew it was happening because I'd been talking about it for the last couple of days. But like I said, I watched the halftime show, and I was like, look, man, I got to go do the podcast. And I couldn't get the freaking Hulu to log in. And I just said, screw it. I just won't watch it. So I just got updates on social media.
Last night, I was out at dinner, and my girlfriend was like, are you watching the game tomorrow? And I was like, I'd be down. I forgot tomorrow's the Super Bowl. And even before, I've been binging on Bumpy Johnson for hours, or on Godfather Harlem. And I got the alert on my phone saying the game was starting, and I was just like, yeah, I'm already too deep into this show. I'm not changing. I don't think I think there's been one other Super Bowl, probably one of those Chiefs Super Bowls, because I don't really like the Chiefs. It may be one of those Patriots Super Bowls, but I can't think of a Super Bowl before this one where I was literally this uninterested. There wasn't a team I hate. There isn't a team I like.
Yeah.
Right? There isn't a player that I hate so much that I need to see them lose, and there isn't a player that I like so much that I have to see them win. Now the coach, I mean, it's crazy how uninterested. And I kind of feel like that's been a vibe in a lot of spaces, because I feel like no one, and I'm around a bunch of guys, no one's really talked about the Super Bowl this year. And I just feel like there has been a lot of hype. I'm sure that's different in the state of Washington and in New England.
Sure.
But, I mean, Packers haven't been in the Super Bowl in a very long time, and there's always some chatter around these parts, but not this year. So I just found that interesting. That is it. I don't think I'm going to finish the game. I'm pretty sure Seattle's going to win, so I'm going to check back into Godfather Harlem. So look forward to hearing your show tomorrow. If you have the show tomorrow, you might stay up late. I'm not sure, but I'll check in with you. All right, bye.
Yeah, I didn't really think about it, but I mentioned how, and that's kind of why I phrased it that way too, where it's just not an interesting game at all. It surprisingly, I almost would argue it makes it worse. I hate when a team that I hate is in the Super Bowl, but at least I have some vested interest in it. At least as much, like I'm not going to change my mind on like, no, I'd rather have a team. I can't handle that. But man, if there's two teams I'm just indifferent to, and now I'm starting to understand why, it's funny because I always make the case that, the NFL's rigged. That's why the Chiefs keep going back. I'm like, dude, nobody likes the Chiefs. Why would they rig it to put the Chiefs in when nobody likes the Chiefs? Well, first of all, I mean, they obviously do have a lot of fair weather fans, as is the case with any time a team is very successful. But beyond that, I think I underestimated how much hatred could drive some numbers, because, man, you actually get two teams that nobody really hates anymore anyways. I mean, obviously, each of these teams has rivals. I'm sure Buffalo and the Jets and everything had a vested interest, just like the 49ers did. But, I have never cared less about a Super Bowl. At least it's been a very long time since I just haven't cared. I'm still happier that nobody that I hated was in the Super Bowl. But, it's probably not good for the NFL because like I said, I saw that, and I don't know if this held up because this was maybe a week prior to, this may have changed, but I had seen that like I don't know if it was the average ticket price or like the high end or the low end or what it was, some of the metrics or whatever, it was like the lowest it had been in a long time. And I guess I wouldn't doubt it just based on, unless you're a fan of these two teams, is this the one that you're going to want to go to? I don't think so. I don't want to go to that one. So, okay, we'll take a break. We got one more from RLS, and we'll go from there.
Hey, what's up, Ryan? It's RLS again. So game is ending in about, 12 seconds or so. I just want to take this opportunity to just check in on Minnesota Vikings fans. I'm not going to spend much time on this, but I just think it's hilarious that they had Daniel Jones and freaking Sam Darnold and they had a 1 in 3 shot on getting it right. 33.3% chance of picking a quarterback that would have been a good deal. You know, Daniel Jones had the season injury, but he played damn good up until then. Oh man, it has to hurt. Tigers fans, we've been through some stuff, 2014, this year, but I know Minnesota Viking fans have to be hurting right now.
Freaking livid.
Man, that's crazy.
Well, especially since, I mean, it would be one thing if they were just a terrible team anyways. And it's like, yeah, but you wouldn't have done anything with them anyway. I mean, you had what do they have, like 13 wins or 12 wins or something crazy? Not to mention an extremely dangerous defense, just like Seattle does. And you've got that number 1 wide receiver. You know, maybe he's not Jackson Smith and Jigba, but I mean, there are a lot of parallels there to where you can't even play that game. You could easily look at that and say, that coulda, woulda, shoulda been you that year. Absolutely. I mean, you've got a competent head coach. You've got a scary defense. You've got the quarterback, obviously. You've got the receiver. I don't know why you couldn't make that case. In fact, I just did the mock draft for the draft show earlier today, it would have been. And that was kind of the comment I had made when I was looking at Minnesota, is like, you don't have that much that to make you a contender. You know what I mean? Like, you don't need that much more. Honestly, what you need is a quarterback. And you freaking had him, and you just let him walk out the door. Oh, man. If you guys see some Vikings, I got to go searching around a little bit. We might have to do a little laughing at the enemy, because that is vicious. That is rough.
But I'm glad this game is over, because I just want to get to the postseason.
Yes,
all right, we can start talking about free agents. We can start talking about draft. We can start just letting our imaginations steer the wheel, because I'm just not interested. This game, I mean, congratulations to the Seahawks, I guess, whatever. But yeah, I'm looking forward to, we stop talking about this game and we just start talking about the offseason, because I'm excited for the offseason. You know, I've had some time to reflect, and I cannot wait to get our guys back from injury. Yeah. After listening to Goody's press conference and how pissed off he sounded, like he sounded like my dad. Like, when I was younger, when he was trying to restrain himself in public, but he really wanted to just go ape shit on us. That's how Goody reminded me.
Yeah.
And I feel like, I'm not saying he's like a wounded dog in the corner or something, but I feel like, with no first round pick, all the injuries last year, coaches underperforming, players underperforming, I feel like he's going to roll into this offseason with some dog in him. I think he's going to nail this draft. I think he's going to walk away with fewer picks. I think he's going to walk away with like 2 or 3 hits, man. I can feel it.
Good.
I think he's going to make a surprise in the offseason, hopefully at defensive line. I don't know, man. I just have faith in Goody, that press conference. Anyways, this isn't about the press conference. It's just about this game being over, and let's get into the offseason. I'm excited for it. I'm looking forward to the future shows. Hopefully we can keep this Super Bowl talk on Packernet podcast to just like a couple of days. I would really appreciate it if we can move on. I know that's not my decision, but, I can't wait until we do. This will be the last time I call and say anything about this damn game. Full off-season mode, all about the Packers. Let's get it. I'm looking forward to you got the draft show, you got this show, this is Packing in the Dark. You got the regular show. Man, it is going to be lit this offseason.
Well, I appreciate you, dude. It's why I made the comment. I think it was on this show. I can't, I think they're all blurring together. That's why I made the comment, though, because it's like I've seen a couple people who are like, "Yeah, it's off now. It's time to shift into the off season." Like even Ian Rappaport or something made that comment. I was like, "Heck yeah, dude, let's go." And it's like this is when everybody's resources get into it too. This is when, everything just shifts into high gear. It's not just the attention. You know what I mean? It's the focus and the resources of the teams and of the media, and you start, everybody's digging. It's like we need something to keep this thing going. So if nothing else, give me some fake drama, some fake rumors, give me something. And there's a little of that, and I'm looking, and it's like, oh, Bad Bunny, oh, Bad Bunny. And it's either it was the greatest show that's ever happened, or this is a disgrace to our country, or whatever. It's like, it's the most extreme things on either side of it, and it's like, guys, stop it. Like, I get it. This is part of the fun. This is part of the drama, the Juicy Man drama, is we fight about the halftime show, right? I get it. That's, like I said, that's occasionally there's a good halftime show. Usually the entire point of the halftime show is to complain about it because it's just not good. At least for me and my, generation or whatever the case may be. That's fine. That's how it goes. But guys, please, please stop. I'm begging you. I understand, like, some of you already called in. There's probably a couple more calls about it. That's fine. It's not a big deal, for people calling as it happened. But, from where I'm at, where we're all at right now, do what you want to do, fan how you want to fan, but good Lord, I don't freaking care anymore. I don't want to hear about it anymore. I just don't. So I'm ready. I'm excited. I'm so, it's funny because it's like I'm burned out tonight. I got nothing left, but it's weird because I'm like excited to wake up refreshed tomorrow. I'm like, I got an alarm set. I'm going to get up early. I'm going to start digging through some of the free agency stuff. I'm excited to be refreshed and excited about stuff. I just got nothing left today. All right. Did we take a second break? I think we did, right? So we don't do that anymore? Pretty sure. Kyle from Madison.
Ryan, how's it going, man? This
What's
is
up,
Kyle. Happy Super Bowl Sunday. And even better than that is it is officially the end of the 2026 season, I guess. What was from a Packers fan point of view, a season with a lot of exciting highs and some crushing lows, and just overall, I would say fairly frustrating. But the season's over, and now we're on, I guess this would be the 2025 season. We're on to 2026 now, so I'm here for that. Yeah, the Super Bowl, man. I mean, it's kind of boring, but that's a terrifying defensive performance from Seattle.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any doubt about that.
Well, and again, it's the second year in a row, and it doesn't mean, because Philadelphia was there, and then Philadelphia is just not a team anybody cares about anymore. So who knows if Seattle's a joke next year? But it's just it's kind of that reminder of what you need to be. You know what I mean? Because somebody's going to be up there. It might not be Seattle. It might not be Philly. It might not be the Rams or the Patriots or whatever. But it's probably going to be somebody. And if it ain't you, then at best you're going to lose in the Super Bowl. You're the team that gets embarrassed in the Super Bowl, like has happened the last 2 years in a row. So it's just a reminder of what kind of the standard is. What is needed. And it sucks because a lot of this stuff is fluky. No team is going to stay that good. And so these teams kind of come in waves, of just kind of peaking at that time. And I've been thinking about this, and maybe this will be if I can flesh out my thoughts a little bit. The problem with the Packers is that they're kind of a low rolling wave as opposed to these big crashing waves that go up and down, because it's the big crashing waves that have the high peaks. The Packers are good, but you got to spike at some point. You know what I mean? And I know that's contrary to what I've been saying. And I'm not saying that's my final thing, but it just, there's always these teams that come in and they're a flash in the pan. That's why, Schneider and the Seahawks are so elite. Dude, they've been dog crap for like a decade. And you know what? In 2-3 years, they're not going to be good anymore. But the point is, it's kind of like I said with the Rams. Like, they weren't even that good the year they won the Super Bowl, and then they were dog crap again. And then they came back, and then they're going to fall off again, especially after Stafford leaves. But they are these teams that kind of just have these, kind of like the 49ers, even though they've never won anything. They vacillate from like the scariest team in football to a top 10 pick. I don't know how. I've never seen a team do that so much. Usually it's because they have quarterbacks that get hurt all the time. But yeah, there's just sort of these like how do you get into that swing thing? Like I don't know. It's freaking weird. But anyways, we got to figure out a way to really spike what we've got.
Yeah, that defense looks scary. I do take pleasure in Sam Darnold hoisting
Yes.
the Lombardi Trophy because you know that hurts Viking fans. You know it does. I know he wasn't like great in this game, but that's gotta hurt. That's gotta hurt with the defense they put together this year. So I'm enjoying that. I thought the commercials were decent. I don't know, some of the AI stuff's a little bit uncanny valley for me, but I thought there was some clever stuff. I enjoyed the halftime show. I like that. That was a party. My mom and I were watching together. We were jamming. So that was cool. Like a little different than the usual. So I like that.
Sure.
And yeah, overall I wanted Seattle to win. I don't know. They just seemed like the team that deserved it this year, especially the second half of the year. Get a couple hard-fought divisional wins like that, and then just carry it through the playoffs like that. I mean, I'm fine with that. And I do think just the NFC was just a lot stronger this year.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, whatever. Good for them. And now it's on to the stuff I actually care about. Beginning again, as we do this cycle of abuse over and over each year. So let's let the confetti fall. Let the Seattle fans have their well-earned 24 hours in the sun, and then we'll all just go back into thinking we're the best team.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Who knows what the future holds? I doubt a lot of Seattle fans thought they'd be hoisting the Lombardi Trophy
exactly
this time last year. So.
Well, yeah, remember, 2 teams that didn't make the playoffs were in the Super Bowl. So, for all the doomers out there, it'll never happen, it can never happen. Okay, well, sure. Whatever. Same with the Eagles the year before, right? The year before they won the Super Bowl, they ended in just horrific fashion. They never thought they'd win a Super Bowl.
Nobody knows, man. Nobody knows. So, might be us next year. We've got more than a puncher's chance. So what happens between now and September is going to go, a lot of the way to deciding that. And then if we can stay healthy this year, I would argue would be even bigger factor. So here we go, man. Go Pack, go. Take care, everybody.
Oh, and it's that stupid thing again, too, where I was going to make a point. I'm like, I'll just let him finish, and I already forgot. Let me go listen again. Oh, yeah, everybody thinks that we're the best team now. That is part of the fun of the offseason. I've said it before because I like to be rational, thoughtful in what I'm doing. So it seems contrary to be just like, oh, everything's great, we're going to win everything, we're going to win the Super Bowl and stuff. I think in the offseason, obviously there needs to be a sense of somewhat being unserious, and like you understand that you're probably not going to win the Super Bowl and all that stuff. But we don't know what's going to happen. And so I think my position on it has always been, then why be negative? Why be negative in the offseason when you don't know what's going to happen? I feel like now is the time to get excited, It doesn't have to be irrational. It doesn't have to be completely stupid. But, like if you're not sure what's going to happen, which none of us are sure what's going to happen, if you had to choose between, blind optimism about a draft pick or this is a disaster, why would you do that? I mean, we don't know, right? So why not get excited? Why not err on the side of excitement? You can still be honest about it. I mean, I'm going to tell you, like, well, that wasn't one of my, which I do every year because they never pick the guys I like almost. That wasn't one of my guys, and I didn't really like him for this or that reason and whatever. But, we'll look into it. And obviously there's the other thing too is if we're talking about like first round, like with Rashawn Gary, I mean, this guy isn't a 7th round pick. He's a first round pick, and he's a consensus first round pick, meaning there isn't a single team that would have allowed him to fall if they had the 32nd pick out of the first round. 0 teams would have let that happen. So the idea that like he's a guaranteed flop, and I'm just using Rashawn because I don't think anyone, including myself, wanted Rashawn. But you know what I mean? Like we get so like, oh, I know for a fact that's a bust. What a terrible pick. That was stupid, blah, blah, blah. We don't freaking know what's going to happen, dude. So, you know, do what you got to do, fan how you want to fan and all that. But I'm just saying I enjoy the off season because it's all make-believe pretendy time. That's it. And you get to make believe and pretend whatever you want. And for some reason, some people like fantasizing about us being horrible. I don't understand that, but that's what they like to do. I like going the other direction. I like fantasizing about, okay, what do we need to do and all that stuff. And then how did the things that we did, yeah, I think that's right. How is it the things that we did helped us? Somehow this sentence is sounding very wrong. You get what I'm saying, though. What did we do that helped us? You know, we added this piece, and now we go from this to this to this to this, and da-da-da-da-da. And to your other point, as far as having better than a puncher's chance, yeah, dude. I mean, I think we're all traumatized from some of the stuff that happened, and fair enough. But, man, I mean, if you just looked at the rosters and dropped all the negativity in your mind about like, well, this team can't win with Matt LaFleur and Brian Gutekunst at the helm. Great. Anyways, let's leave that aside for just a second and assume that there isn't a 0% chance that we win the Super Bowl with these guys. Man, if you're just looking at the rosters and you have one roster that has Jordan Love at quarterback, who was a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. It didn't feel like it toward the end of the season because everything was so bad, but he was unbelievable last year. You have Micah Parsons, who, again, you didn't really get to feel the full effect because of all the injuries and all that stuff. You have Tucker Kraft and Christian Watson, both of whom were injured for half of the year last year. There's so much talent here that, yes, in part, we have to figure out how to better utilize it, which I'm excited about our new defensive coordinator and maybe some new things he can bring to the table. By the way, we lost Halfley, but we had the benefit of having Halfley. So I'm sure he had some really creative ways of using this defense that maybe our new defensive coordinator wouldn't think of, but now might think of, in terms of, whether it's just watching the tape and saying that actually worked really well, we should keep using that. Or even just from a collaborative standpoint of talking to the players and them saying, I like this or that or the other, and being able to incorporate that. In other words, just because he's gone doesn't mean everything has to change. If he did something and it worked, why not keep doing it? You know what I mean? Just saying. But yeah, man, I mean, it's such a fun time. I'm so excited for the off season. I'm so grateful that you guys are still here hanging out with me. Please keep listening. Please keep the calls coming in. I really, really appreciate all the support. Got some more people on Patreon that I want to shout out, but you know what? Let's just do it twice. I was going to say, I usually do it on the regular show, and I don't want to, but let's do it for both. But very, very excited as this thing loads for all the cool stuff that we got coming up with free agency and all. I just love the rumors, man. I'm a freaking nerd where it's like I go check. Oh, we just got another one. Boy, oh boy. So we've got Darren, DHJ, Mike, and Roy. Appreciate you guys signing up. Again, I'll try to remember to shoot a message. Wouldn't be tomorrow, but the next day, because again, I'm not going to have a regular podcast tomorrow up. But I'm pumped, man. I freaking love the off season. I love being able to dig into this stuff. I love people's different opinions on things, how we should use our money, how we should use our cap, how we should use free agency, who we should cut, who we should bring. I love the art of building a football team. You know what I mean? I love that. And this is when you get to do that. This is when you get to kind of play, and it's all just for fun, and it's all just screwing around, and we probably take it too seriously, but that's part of the fun. And the draft is just a piece of it. It's a major piece of it, and it's a super fun piece of it because the unknowns are unlimited. You watch a guy and he just wrecks college football, and you think, man, what if he does that for us? But there's also free agency and everything else, and there's the growth of the guys that we have, and there's the new coaching staff and all the different things that we can play with in our fantasy lands, in our minds. So, yeah, get those calls in and let me know what you're thinking. I'm going to get to work tomorrow. I'm going to get to work on some free agency stuff. I got to round up some of the news and see where we're at with that and see if we have time or whatever. But that is the plan, to start doing, like I said, laying the groundwork for a lot of the free agency stuff, because we haven't even really started that. And there's a lot of calls on it, and I'm like, I can't even comment on it so much. So we got to at least get it out there so we can get started on it and then build on top of that. Anywho, folks, I'm going to leave it at that. Again, I'm just very appreciative of all of you. Head over to NFLDraftGrades.com. Again, been doing a lot of work on that. I don't know when, but very, very, very soon we're going to be doing a group mock draft. I know we're mostly just Packer fans in here, but if there are any non-Packer fans that are listening and want to join in, I would greatly encourage you to do so. If not, head over to the Facebook group, which I don't remember exactly what it is, but it's out there. It's the, last I checked, the largest NFL draft Facebook group. So if you join that one, it should be mine. All right, I'm out of here. Have a good one. Bye-bye.